let's see what they gave me to work with here. Is that a PDF? I didn't even know you could import that in here. Is that vertical iPhone footage? For their film? I know every one of us has had a chaotic editing experience like that, and if you haven't yet, then consider yourself pretty lucky. What's up, you lovely people? It's nice to see you again, and if you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss any future videos. So, what can you do to make your editing experience better and make sure that you're putting out quality content every time? Today, we're talking about 5 tips to improve your edits, and I'll be going through and showing you what I do to set up my projects. So let's get to it. Roll that intro. Now, these tips are going to apply to whatever kind of project you're doing. And even though today I'm going to give you some tips and show you how I set up my projects for what I work on, just know that there's no correct way of doing things. And what's going to work for you is largely based on what works for your workflow when you're working on your projects. The most important thing, and the 5 tips that I have for you guys, is that you're organized, you have a plan going in, you use shortcuts, you know how to use your software, and you refine your edits until you get to the best product possible. So much work on video and film projects is done in the planning and pre-production section of your project, and that's for a reason. It will make your life a whole lot easier in the end if you know that you're going in, getting everything that you need, and then at the end that you have everything you need to complete your final project. All right, so tip number 1 is to be organized. This sounds very simple, but trust me, organization is going to be key to any project you're doing. The more complex your projects get, the more organized you're going to have to be. This is because you could be working with multiple camera angles, shot matching, drone footage shot on different cameras, and you can quickly get lost and lose time and quality in your edit if you aren't organized. Now, on every project I'm doing, I like to set up my bins first, depending on how the project was shot, and this could include things like bins for the different cameras that were used, scenes and takes labeled accordingly for each, separate folders for all of my music, sound effects, and template footage that I might need. I'm also staying organized, and I'm making sure to go through both my script and storyboards to pick out key moments and beats that I need to hit when I'm going in to film what I need to get for my project. So tip number 2, have a plan for when you're editing. Story is the most important part of any video or film project, as you're trying to convey a message or make an audience feel something. I like to have my script with me at all times that I've already broken down into scenes, dialogue, and props, along with any storyboards that I might use. This ensures that I won't miss anything when I'm going out to shoot what I need for the projects that I'm working on. If you're working with scripts, there are plenty of software options that make breaking down a script a lot easier. Things like Final Draft, which is pretty much like the industry standard right now, Fade In, which has a free version, and many other options. All of these include a way to separate out your locations, characters, brainstorm ideas, and many other useful tools, such as being able to mark off props that you need in a script. Number 3, and personally one of the most underrated tips, is use keyboard shortcuts and make your own keybinds. This is key to being efficient. Time is money, and the faster that you can get through an edit, the faster you can move on to your next project, which means money and less time spent per project. Some of my favorite shortcuts are the plus and minus buttons to zoom in and out of your timeline, Alt plus or minus to expand the audio tracks, Control plus or minus to expand the video tracks, Q to ripple trim from the beginning of a clip to your playhead, and W to ripple trim from the end of your clip to your playhead. Shift K to add audio frames so you can quickly duck audio. F to make the selected clip appear in your source monitor so you can quickly edit or scrub through it. And so many more that can help you improve both the speed and efficiency of your edit. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys would want to see a video on some shortcuts that I use in both Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve to achieve faster results. All right, so number 4 goes hand in hand with number 3, but it's learn your editing software, learn your NLE. All NLEs are good enough nowadays to accomplish what you need for your editing. You just have to know what tools to use. So definitely commit some time to getting to know your software and knowing how you can customize it. One of the most useful features of having a highly customizable interface like in Premiere Pro is being able to tailor your NLE specifically to what works for your workflow. I personally have 2 views that I toggle back and forth between that focus on all editing or audio features respectively. I also have a color grading workspace I've set up, but I mainly color grade all of my projects in DaVinci Resolve, so this one doesn't get too much use. The most important takeaway is that you can use this to set up your software for exactly what you need and what your workflow looks like, and only keep the windows that are important to you. Another personal favorite is lining up multiple editing timelines and then stacking them when you need to assemble your final edits. All right, so last but not least, and tip number 5, refine your edits progressively and don't be a perfectionist. For example, even in Hollywood editing, when they're editing feature films, they go through it in multiple passes, see what's working and what's not working, and then refine their edit as they're moving through it. Your first pass through is usually your rough edit. That's when you're going through and picking your selects and parts of scenes that you want to use. These are usually big chunks of scenes and aren't usually specifically cut down to the very frame that you need, but just enough so that you can start putting everything together. Once you've assembled your first pass, you usually move through and start refining your edit and doing your fine edit. This is where you tighten up all of your transitions, drop frames that you don't need, make sure everything edits together seamlessly, make any story adjustments that you need so that everything fits together perfectly in the edit. And lastly, you have your final edit. This is when you've assembled the best from all the scenes, you've got your story beats down, and you can make sure that they're all in the edit. Your special effects, transitions, final music, and everything else that you need are as polished as can be and are part of your timeline. Now, it's important to mention that there is no secret formula for this. Editing, like any part of the filmmaking process, is an art form, and it requires both artistic license to be able to get what you're looking for and to make the best choices when it comes to your editing. The most important part is that the final version brings together the vision of the entire project. Like I said, there's no one-size-fits-all formula, and even with every single rough edit, fine edit, and final edit that you have, there's probably going to be multiple versions of each where you're doing anything from minor changes to more sweeping changes when you're in the beginning stages of your edit. The key is not to get it perfect the first time around, because that's unrealistic, but it's to gradually refine what you're doing until you end up with a better quality edit at the end. All right, so that's all the tips that I have for you today. Just make sure you remember that filmmaking is a collaborative and a creative process. It should be fun, and there's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all approach to this, but there are ways to approach your work and to think about things in order to make your editing faster, and especially the more that you do it. Now, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you go out and share it with someone. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me a comment down below, like this video, and most importantly, go out and create something. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Laravedere.